In a place called Kandapara, this photograph captures the stark reality of a community ensnared in the harsh grip of prostitution. Here, more than 1,000 women reside, their lives entangled in a relentless cycle of serving clients. In this area, prostitution is deemed legal, while the act of abortion remains forbidden. The village has earned the somber title of the Village of Prostitutes, where countless children grow up burdened by the weight of their uncertain paternity. For these children, the knowledge that awaits them at the tender age of 9 is a future inherited from their mothers, a life marred by dependency on medication, vulnerability to diseases, and a persistent struggle against poverty. The community itself comprises over 600 interconnected rooms, each providing shelter for the sex workers who labor within its confines. The plight of these women has attracted the attention of journalists, both local and international, who have ventured into Kandapara to expose the tragic reality that unfolds here. One such exposé came from The Guardian, a British newspaper, which aired a documentary unmasking the lives of these prostitutes and bringing their plight to the forefront of global consciousness. However, despite the efforts to shed light on their circumstances, the authorities in Bangladesh hold a different perspective. In March 2000, the Supreme Court of Bangladesh made a decision that legalized sex work within the boundaries of Kandapara. This legal recognition led to rapid development in the village, propelling it to become one of the largest government-acknowledged brothel areas among the 20 designated villages. Within the confines of these brothels, sex workers are obligated to obtain licenses, and clients engage in prostitution under the purview of the law. However, it is important to distinguish between the legality of the profession itself and the process by which individuals become sex workers. Investigations from various countries have revealed distressing evidence that a significant majority of the prostitutes in Kandapara have been trafficked or forcibly taken from their homes, often originating from neighboring countries like Nepal, Vietnam, and Myanmar. Shockingly, some are even sold into this life by their own parents, a heartbreaking betrayal. Upon arrival in Kandapara, these vulnerable women are coerced into signing a so-called voluntary agreement under the control of the brothel keepers. Any resistance is met with brutal physical abuse, leaving them with no choice but to comply. In this manner, they become labelled as voluntary prostitutes, a classification recognised by the government. The harrowing reality is compounded by the burdens of debt these women carry, a consequence of their sale into this village. To repay this debt and seek freedom from their predicament, they are forced to serve clients relentlessly, trapped in a cycle from which escape seems almost impossible. The staggering numbers bear witness to the extent of their daily struggle. Over 1,000 sex workers in Kandapara are compelled to serve more than 3,000 clients each day. Shockingly, these clients pay as little as 100 takas, equivalent to a mere $1, to degrade the dignity of these women. In the name of voluntary engagement, the absence of safeguards during these encounters exposes these women to grave risks, including the transmission of diseases and unintended pregnancies. Astonishingly, the clients bear no accountability for the consequences that befall these women. When diseases afflict them, these women are left to grapple with their ailments using their meagre earnings, further perpetuating their cycle of indebtedness. Additionally, the plight of pregnancy becomes a cruel continuation of their tragic fate. In a country where abortion is illegal, pregnant sex workers are compelled to carry their pregnancies to term, deepening the cycle of hardship for both mother and child. Within the confines of Kandapara, the weight of Bangladeshi law bears down on pregnant prostitutes, denying them the option of abortion. Consequently, they are compelled to bring their unborn children into a world tainted by suffering and despair. In this desolate village, children are born into a nightmare from which escape seems impossible. For boys fortunate enough to take their first breaths in Kandapara, their future is etched with the harsh lines of labour and physical toil. From tender years onward, their existence mirrors that of slaves, toiling under the weight of unrelenting work. Their youthful dreams and aspirations crumble, replaced by the grim reality of servitude. For girls, the legacy they inherit is an even bleaker one. As they grow, they become the unwilling recipients of their mother's work, forced to traverse a path paved with exploitation and degradation. Adorning themselves with meagre and substandard cosmetics, they assume a facade of allure, disguising the pain and despair that reside within them. In anticipation, they dress up and wait, knowing all too well that their fate is sealed. The moment of inheritance arrives like a cruel rite of passage when a girl reaches the age of 9. In the eyes of the brothel keeper and the clients who darken the doorways of Kandapara, this tender age marks the precipice of adulthood. No longer shielded by the innocence of childhood, these young girls are thrust into a world where their bodies are objectified and their spirits are crushed under the weight of unimaginable circumstances. Adaptation becomes their sole option, a survival instinct that kicks in with brutal urgency. The young girls must quickly learn to navigate the treacherous terrain of their existence, grappling with the unspeakable realities of the sex trade. The twisted expectations of this sordid world demand their compliance, leaving them with little choice but to surrender their youth and dignity at an age when they should be sheltered, nurtured, and allowed to dream. In Kandapara, innocence is stolen, and childhood evaporates under the piercing gaze of a society plagued by moral decay. The life these girls are thrust into offers no respite, only a ceaseless struggle against a relentless tide of despair. Their young spirits, mired in darkness, yearn for a glimmer of hope, a flicker of compassion in a world that seems intent on their exploitation. Trapped in a web of economic hardship, the girls of Kandapara find themselves deprived of the means to afford nutritious sustenance, plunging them into the clutches of malnourishment. Yet, in the twisted realm of this place, where beauty is distorted and corrupted, the perception of attractiveness takes a perverse turn. Here, being overweight is hailed as a form of allure, while those who are excessively thin are shunned, unable to attract the attention of potential clients. Caught in this paradox, the girls find themselves resorting to desperate measures to meet the expectations of a society that commodifies their bodies. To expedite their physical maturation, they turn to a cheap and dangerous drug called orodixin, typically used to fatten cattle. This dubious substance, when ingested by humans, triggers rapid weight gain, presenting an illusion of fullness and maturity. However, the deceptive facade conceals a sinister truth. The long-term consequences of orodixin consumption are devastating. It ensnares them in the grip of addiction, leaving their bodies frail and weak from excessive perspiration. The drug ravages their liver and kidney functions, slashing their life expectancy drastically. In the suffocating confines of Kandapara, the average lifespan of these prostitutes dwindles to a mere 40 years, their existence marked by a toxic cycle of dependence and exploitation. Yet, despite the grim toll exacted upon their lives, the prostitutes of Kandapara find themselves trapped with no viable alternatives. The shackles of justice and the rule of law grow feeble within the boundaries of this village, nestled beneath the watchful gaze of the capital city. Kandapara exists as a realm unto itself, governed by its own rules, where the whims of the brothel keeper reign supreme. A figure of absolute authority, the brothel keeper wields power unchallenged, ensuring the smooth operation of their illicit domain by bribing government officials and overseeing the activities of the prostitutes. Young girls, victims of trafficking, are ensnared within their clutches, while any woman daring to dream of escape is met with brutal retribution. In this desolate place, the will of the brothel keeper is unassailable, defying resistance and extinguishing any flicker of hope. The prostitutes, their earnings already meagre, are forced to surrender a significant portion to the insatiable greed of the brothel keeper, leaving them with mere scraps to sustain their own lives. Trapped in captivity, their freedom stripped away, they endure silent torment and unrelenting exploitation at the hands of their captor. Though the notion of escape may cross their minds, the consequences are too dire to bear. Within the walls of Kandapara, the women find themselves condemned to a lifetime of captivity, unable to break free from this suffocating existence. The world outside remains elusive, a distant dream they may never realize. In the shadows of this grim reality, their voices are muffled, their pleas for justice falling on deaf ears. In the heart of Kandapara, the echoes of despair reverberate endlessly as hope fades into obscurity. The government of Bangladesh could no longer turn a blind eye to the harrowing plight of Kandapara village. In 2014, an official, driven by a sense of urgency to address the rampant atrocities, made a decisive and controversial decision to eradicate the presence of sex workers in the area. With resolute determination, the government deployed a formidable force to violently demolish the centuries-old brothel village in July 2014, causing it to momentarily vanish from the landscape. However, Even as the physical structures of Kandapara crumbled, the thousands of sex workers who once called it home remained, now left homeless and grappling with the desperate need to secure their survival. The demolition posed a series of haunting questions. Where would their means of income originate from, and would any position in society accept them? For the trafficked sex workers, the predicament was even more dire. Where would they go, and what future awaited them beyond these raised walls? Dishearteningly, the government offered no answers to these troubled souls. As the reverberations of the violent demolition swept across the nation, a wave of protests and demonstrations surged in response. The government, faced with mounting pressure, eventually conceded and agreed to rebuild Kandapara village. The area would rise from the ashes, but the scars of the past would remain etched in the lives of those who endured its darkness. To comprehend the deep-rooted issues that plagued Kandapara village, one must delve into the history of Bangladesh. Following the official establishment of the People's Republic of Bangladesh in March 1971, internal conflicts persisted, leaving the nation in a state of turmoil. Frequent changes in political power sowed seeds of instability, resulting in a disillusioned populace, lackluster economic progress, and a profound sense of poverty. Bangladesh found itself classified by the United Nations as one of the world's least developed countries. An economy heavily reliant on agriculture struggled to foster diverse industries. Inadequate infrastructure and a lagging education system further perpetuated the cycle of poverty, particularly affecting women who faced limited employment opportunities and often had to depend on men for their survival. In such a distressing landscape, places like Kandapara, with its notorious brothel village, thrived. The sex trade, generating substantial revenue, saw a proliferation of legal sex workers, providing economic gains for the government. Yet, amidst the perceived prosperity, the human cost remained immeasurable. In the shadows of Kandapara village, a stark reality persists, a reality that exposes the vulnerabilities and injustices suffered by countless women and children. The struggle faced by those trapped in the cycle of exploitation and despair is a poignant reminder of the pressing need for comprehensive societal change. It is a call to action for governments, organizations, and individuals to address the root causes and systemic issues that allow such tragedies to persist. The story of Kandapara serves as a somber reminder that until every person is afforded dignity, freedom, and equal opportunities, the journey towards a brighter future remains incomplete. It is a collective responsibility to rewrite the narrative, dismantle the structures that perpetuate suffering, and create a world where the innocence of childhood is cherished and where the inherent worth of every individual is recognized. Only then can the voices of Kandapara and others like it be truly heard and the promise of a better tomorrow be realized. Thanks for watching the video, and if you found it informative, please like and subscribe to Time Capsule for similar content. We look forward to sharing more knowledge with you in the future. Until then, take care.